Hey, we are live here. Good morning. This is our good AM. I'm sorry, not good woohoo. Uh, this is Paul Romero with the Swiss Gold Global Independent Business Owner Network Marketing Training number 174 on August 19th, 2015. Website Wednesday. And I'm excited today. I woke up on not new update.
New
Yes.
update.
No. It was actually yesterday. Woke up yesterday, and as I oftentimes do, have this great, wonderful, gift from the universe popping into my mind, and I sat down and for 4 hours wrote out actually sort of a presentation that was based around the concept of new information. And this morning I got up and all of a sudden I had an interesting thought to look at something online. And then as I was looking at that, all of a sudden I went, you know what, I'm gonna go to the the Swiss Gold Global website, which is, what we do Wednesdays here is review the website. And I'm going to look at some of the educational information in the Real Wealth Revolution portion of the website. And so lo and behold, what did I collect up this morning by doing so? New information. Just exactly what my mind yesterday was, a gift presentation given to me about new information. And this morning, here I go and get some new information. I'm really excited to share some of this new information with you guys. But first of all, I'm going to say good day to Mr. John Leister.
Thank you, Paul. Now, that's a new room I've never seen in your house before. What room is it now?
That's because it's not in the house, dude. This is what life would be like. Well, what life is going to be like. This is the RV. I'm camping. I'm traveling, doing work from wherever I want to work from, because that's the freedom that Swiss Gold Global can give you. Working from anywhere I want in the RV. Look outside. See, there's the window. Oh, you can't see out that side. But there's the window. Looking out there. Look at that beautiful park-like setting where we're sitting here right now. Hey, I could be anywhere in the USA right now doing this hangout because of Swiss Gold Global.
That's awesome. And that's why I asked. I had a feeling you were in your RV. You've been talking about it for a couple days now. So, all right, I'm really excited to be on this hangout today. I know that Paul's got some interesting stuff that he's going to point out there. So as he's getting himself ready to share the screen, I just want to welcome everyone to the hangout and say thanks for joining us. It's good to be here. And as you know, it's Wednesday and it's Hangout Website Training Wednesday. And it looks like Paul's got the site up now. So why don't you go ahead and take this thing over, Paul?
All right, cool. Well, I think you guys should be pretty familiar with this page, obviously being the home page. Today, Thursday, today's Wednesday, and we don't have, looks like there's no education today. Live, fresh, new education. There's plenty in here. Don't worry about that. Good day to review some of the older stuff or to catch up on some of the older stuff, which is what we're going to do today. But tomorrow at 10 a.m., here we have Sandy Gallagher and Bob Proctor presenting. In fact, I read something about this. This actually sounds like a very interesting, an interesting piece that's coming up on Thursday. And then we have on Saturday. This is every Saturday. It looks like Bill Rowell does an introduction to Swiss Gold Global. This happens every Saturday at 9 a.m. I haven't. We should probably watch that next week and look at this one next week, because I have a feeling this is pretty much the same thing over and over again, and a good thing for you to introduce people to use, to introduce people. And then next Monday, we've got Nancy Fela with Own Your Life. But today, we're getting the Real Wealth Revolution and the education portion of your Swiss Gold Global membership, which, as we talked about before, if you're a free member, you ain't getting none of this. All right. If you're a free member, all you get to do is save gold and silver, which, hey, that's great. Good place to start. But if you want to know why the hell you're doing it, you probably want to pay for the membership, pony up your $50 a month, and get yourself educated so you can know why you are actually wanting to save gold and silver. And so when we look in here again, we have Bob Proctor there with a little, what is that, a 2-minute introductory video. Very awesome. Coming down here, we have Bob Proctor, Sandy Gallagher, Greg Reed, Nancy Fela, Carolita Oliveros, Philip Judd, Jane Rickards, and Kristen Martinson. Oh, and some extra resources. Is this a new box? We got some more stuff coming, folks. Look at that. But as I was talking about, I'm real excited about the interesting information that James Rickards brings about the current status of the economy and things that are going on right now. Chris Martinson here with the creator of the Crash Course. I haven't looked into that quite yet. I was very curious here about this morning about because of what I woke up wanting to look at, which was actually the thought that I had to look up on Google was the percentage of billionaires in, to a percentage of the world population who are billionaires. And it is minuscule, but quite interesting. It's actually a pretty huge number of billionaires that there are in the world today. I believe it's over 2,235 or something like that. And between 2013 and 2014, 155 new billionaires were recorded around the world. Of course, America is the leader in that, with the number most billionaires per capita per country. They added 55 that year. The Asian market added 52, and the Latin American added 42, and then the rest of it changed. And the interesting thing was Africa and the Middle East actually declined in the number of billionaires being added to. But anyway, regardless of that, so I was very curious here this morning about Mr. Philip Judge, who is author, speaker, film producer, and a bullion banker. So I clicked onto here, and we came to see what he has to offer here. And I started out with this Millennium Money. This is actually a 2-hour documentary, and I'm going to give John a second to pipe in on any thoughts that he might have had from what I just threw in here before I get into these two things right here.
I think you're going through everything really well and clear. I'm very curious to hear more about what this documentary is all about. And so I don't want to take up your time here, Paul, because I think you're doing great.
Okay, well, I didn't watch 2 hours. I didn't wake up that early this morning. I actually literally only watched the first 15 minutes of this, 15 minutes and 23 seconds to be exact. That's how intense it is, that I know that I only watched 15 minutes and 23 seconds of this thing. But what this came down to what it starts out with, it starts out talking about the Great Depression, what caused this, the Roaring Twenties, where we were in the Roaring Twenties, what was going on, what happened in the Great Depression. And then it moves into talking about the late 90s, and obviously working its way towards talking about, the crash of 2008. And I was just totally amazed at, the absolute twin sister parallel of what happened in the Great Depression as to what happened in 2007. And
Oh, wow. Cool. Can you hear me, Paul?
Huh?
I'm sorry. I lost you for a moment. You're back now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, everything was going up, up, up. Nobody had a care in the world. Here's the interesting thing. By borrowing without the ability to repay, this tempted the middle class into risking everything before the crash or before the Great Depression hit, into overinflated markets. How familiar does that sound to the late 2000 or the mid 2000s? Middle class tempted to overborrow to invest in overinflated markets. Holy cow. That's exactly what was happening in 2000 to 2006. And the funny thing is those who were warning people about this were, denounced as doomsayers, right? Then early morning, October 29th, 1929, Wall Street opened. Interesting thing here, Wall Street happened to be approximately 20 years old. 20 years is a very interesting number when it comes to market cycles. But anyway, so Wall Street opens, typical day, but all the orders that day were to sell. Nobody was buying anything on that day. And it came down to a lack of confidence in the marketplace, where everybody sort of realized that there was a problem, with the money and the market, the stock market rising so fast, and all the things that were going on from the 20s and where everything was, and all of a sudden, just like out of the blue, everybody called up that day and wanted to sell. And nobody had any clue that this was going to cause, a freaking major world it wasn't just America. The Great Depression actually plunged the entire world into a depression. We never heard about that. Nobody ever talked about the fact that it affected the whole world. All we ever hear about is what happened here in the United States. And the same thing, 2008, the whole world collapsed. And then, this caused, traders and businessmen to be jumping to their death off of buildings. The middle class basically lost their entire life savings, homes, businesses, and jobs. Boy, that certainly sounds familiar, doesn't it? Dozens of millionaires, they lost it all, joining the ranks of the unemployed. $40 billion in equity was lost on that one day in the marketplace. And 2 years later, at the depths of the national the national income, at the depth of the depression, so that would be like, for us, like 2010, the national income had decreased by 50%, and more than 5,000 banks had closed their doors. 2 years, 2010, how much did our national income decrease, with unemployment and everything else? Probably about 50%. And how many banks had closed their freaking doors? I don't know if it was 5,000 or not, but there was a heck of a lot of them. So, I mean, are you talking about a mirror image here? And then the film goes on to start talking about the stock markets in the late 90s, how stock markets are soaring, record heights daily. No fashionable new company is too risky for anyone to invest in. The U.S. market is like the catalyst to all world economies. The government reports are stating the economy is strong when it's really not. Changing, and all of this is forcing our country in and of itself to be changing from an industrial nation over to a service nation, and going from one of the largest, and at this point in time, we've already converted from one of the largest lenders in the world to one of the largest, to the largest debtor in the world. Actually, not from one of the largest lenders, from the largest lender to the largest debtor in the world. And the time was coming that the world to know how. No, that's in the future here. But the interesting thing is that after the Great Depression, throughout the next damn near 100 years, about 80 years, the Great Depression kind of, just went away as a historical fact. This is, here's what happened, and this is how bad it was, and yada yada yada. And since that point in time, I don't know how soon thereafter, once we decided to sort of start forgetting about that and putting it in the past, we actually started teaching our children that it could never happen again. And look at this. I mean, look at the parallel. I mean, did that not just sound exactly like what happened in 2008? Did it not happen again? Doesn't history repeat itself? John?
Yeah, well, apparently, well, obviously it does in this case of economics, but I mean, that goes with a lot of areas of life. But I'm just blown away by that information. Not that I haven't heard that before, just that I had no idea that a documentary about that stuff was available through our tools here. And that's why these Wednesdays are so awesome, and I kind of want to carve out 2 hours of my day to watch that movie.
I know. I can't wait to finish it myself. I want to get back. The reason why I only watched 15 minutes is because then I went to the next thing. I went here to, let me go back to my page. It's over here. Then I clicked into the life cycle of money. I was, okay, let me see what this is all about. This is interesting. I got to see what's going on here. What's this guy all about? Talking about here in the life cycle of money is, I'm just going to put this on for 1 second so you can see his little diagram.
Deep within each man and woman lays the most powerful wealth creation tool on the planet. Yet for most, this incredible wealth builder rests dormant and undiscovered. It's been said that more gold has come from the mind of men than has ever been dug from the crust of the earth. Welcome to Wealth Sense, the only program designed and equipped to awaken your gold mind and unleash for you the mysteries of true riches and wealth.
Hello there, I'm Scott Jackson. Thanks for joining me from our international headquarters.
I figured you might like that.
Yes. I liked it, yeah.
Yeah, I figured you would like that intro. But what he starts talking about here is, and I wanted to actually, let me see where I can find where he gets into it. What he starts talking about here is the life cycle of money. Here we go. I just wanted to show this little diagram right here. There's 7 phases to the life cycle of money. And this is something that happens not in a lifetime or in a generation. This happens over like centuries with the life cycle of money. And obviously there's been plenty of talk about comparing the U.S. sort of system to the Roman times and whatnot, but in reality it is very similar because the Roman times went through the same life cycle of money. And it doesn't matter. You can look at a country like Zimbabwe, which now, ridiculous. Actually, Zimbabwe has, because of the completing the life cycle of money, Zimbabwe actually prints out a $10 trillion note. That's how their economy. You can walk around in Zimbabwe with a $10 trillion note and use it to, I don't know, buy a freaking, I don't know what you can buy with it, but you can actually carry them around in your pocket because they print them, because that's how far their money has gone into the hole. But so he talks about this life cycle of money and how it goes here, and I'm just going to really zip through this because we only got like 2 minutes. Free market emerges, and this is where working, their physical labor, working the earth, the resources of the earth. You have loggers, you have miners, you have, farmers, you have this sort of thing, this, that, and the other, right? The next thing is money emerges. Well, in the beginning, the logger can trade his logs for his bread because the baker needs to build a house. But once the baker builds his house, well, then he doesn't want any more of the logger's logs, but the logger still needs bread. So this is where the money emerges. So that something of value can be traded for the goods and services. And over time, we talk about how gold and silver is generally that source of money because it has a value, especially in the fact that a very small gold coin, which you can carry in your pocket, is tradable for a large amount of goods and services. The next thing you'd have is then all of a sudden government jumps in and is created because basically, first of all, the government gets created because society needs structure. There's lawlessness prior to, so now we need law and order and society created. But the very first thing that government starts to do is jump into regulating the markets. What can this guy do with his law? So the next thing is, I don't know why I said that. I hate that phrase. But anyway, the next thing is immediately, you know what I'm saying. But then the next thing is once they start regulating the markets, they immediately start to monopolize the money supply. So not only are they determining what the markets can and can't do with their product and service, they immediately take over the mint where the monies are being created, where the gold and silver are coming from. And so they take control of this so that they are now the owners of the money. Now, I use the money, but it's ours. And then what they do, money. And by debasing the money, basically is they start taking the value out of the actual money, the physical money that you can hold in your hand, that you actually are trading your labor for, so that you can have this physical money. And we're running out of time here. But they, so like a gold coin starts out with, you know, a 90% pure gold. And then they're taking them out of circulation and they're printing more gold coins, and they're coming back out on the market at 50% gold. You know, so there was 100 coins before. Now they can have 200 coins out in circulation. And this is a very, very interesting concept, because the purpose behind doing this, why would they want to do this? The purpose behind doing this is that by producing more units, this gives the government the first opportunity to spend that money. And it's really kind of a trick, you know, to give the government the ability to create money and have money to spend, because otherwise the government doesn't create, you know, anything of value into the society. So this is how they do that, with this little trick of debasing the money. The final thing is the confidence crisis and the collapse. And this is where the people kind of wake up and all of a sudden realize that, hey, you know, the money has been debased all the way down to zero value whatsoever, as i.e. the paper dollar today and all the coins you have in your pocket, their intrinsic value is really worth a paper $20 bill, $100 bill, worth about a half a cent, you know, in reality. It is not backed by any real money like it once was, where you could actually trade a $20 bill for a $20 gold piece. That's gone. So the people wake up, they realize their money has no true value, and they're tired of trading their labor for this fake money, and they want the real money back again. And that's when you have the emergence of the free market money, the reemergence of the free market money, which is up here, which is all of a sudden people don't want the dollar bills anymore. They want the gold and silver again. So that's the whole thing right there. We're out of time, John. Throw in 2 cents and take us home.
Well, I see we are almost out of time, so I'm just going to end with the prayer, which goes, I ask not for more riches, wisdom with which to make better use of the riches given to me at birth, through the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever ends I may desire. And I do suggest that everybody go in tonight, play around on your Swiss Gold Global websites, and look for that Jim Rickards guy. That sounds to be some quite fascinating stuff, and good material and information to have at your disposal, especially with what our accomplishments, what we're trying to accomplish here with building a network marketing business. And you know what? We want to make the best use of our money and invest it properly. So I think it's very important that we learn what money is and what money isn't. So as you can see from this website, I mean, we've just got great information, and every Wednesday I'm just excited every time I see something new from the website I haven't seen before. So that's my final thought.
Yeah, this was actually not Jim Rickards. It was Philip Judge. He's
I'm sorry, Philip Judge.
Yeah, but that's cool. But find 2 hours and go watch the movie, guys. It's got to be something spectacular from just the first 15 minutes that I watched. Eye-opening and just amazing. With that, we're out of here. We'll see you on Freedom Friday, where I just might bring a little bit more of this information to the table, because it's quite exciting and fun.